How to improve your accent. On a sunny Tuesday afternoon, while I am working at my cafe, something interesting happens. A family of 3 walks in, a father, a mother, and a little girl. The man smiles at me and starts to speak. I know he is speaking English, but his words sound very different from what I am used to. His accent is so strong that I cannot understand him. He repeats himself, but I am still confused. I feel embarrassed because I want to help him, but I don't know what he is saying. I think he is asking for something we don't sell at the cafe. After a moment, I decide to call my manager, Ms. Rose, to help. Ms. Rose comes quickly and greets the man warmly. She listens carefully as he speaks and then responds to him with a smile. Soon, she hands him 3 cups of coffee and a bag of sandwiches. I am surprised because I thought he wanted something else. The family sits down to enjoy their snacks, and I watch them, still feeling puzzled about why I couldn't understand him. When they leave, I go to Ms. Rose and apologize. I'm sorry I couldn't help them, I say. I didn't understand what they wanted. Ms. Rose pats my shoulder. It's okay, she says kindly. This happens sometimes. People speak English in many different ways, depending on where they are from. Their accent was new to you. They were from Ireland, and Irish accents can sound very different. I nod but feel a little sad. I want to understand everyone who comes to the cafe. That evening, I go home and think about what happened. I decide to talk to my English teacher, Mr. Liam, at school the next day. The teacher's advice. The next morning, I tell Mr. Liam the whole story. I explain how embarrassed I felt when I couldn't understand the man. My boss says it's okay, but I feel like my English isn't good enough for my job, I tell him. Mr. Liam smiles and shakes his head. You're being too hard on yourself, he says. You already speak English very well. But accents are tricky. You are used to hearing English spoken in one way, maybe the way people speak in London or in movies. When you hear a new accent, it can take time for your ears to get used to it. I think about this for a moment. So, what can I do to understand accents better? I ask. Mr. Liam leans forward. That's a great question. First, don't feel bad. Everyone has trouble with new accents at first. It's normal. It usually takes a week or 2 of listening to a new accent before you start understanding it well. Second, practice. You don't need to live in Ireland to understand an Irish accent. You can watch movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos where people speak with Irish accents. This will help you train your ears. I nod. That makes sense, I say. Thank you for the advice. You're welcome, he replies. And remember, every time you listen to a new accent, you're learning and improving. Another interesting day. Later that day, I go back to work at the cafe. It is a busy afternoon, with many people coming and going. Around 3 o'clock, 2 elderly women walk in. They look around for a moment and then come to the counter. I greet them with a smile and ask how I can help. The first woman says something in English, but her words are slow and uncertain. I realize that English is not her first language. I try my best to understand her, but it is hard. My manager, Ms. Rose, notices this and steps in to help. She greets the women with a big smile and uses very simple English. "What would you like?" Ms. Rose asks. "Coffee? Tea? Sandwich?" The women smile, looking relieved. "Coffee, please," one says. "And cake." Ms. Rose nods. "2 coffees. 2 cakes. Anything else?" The women shake their heads and smile again. They seem so happy that someone understands them. They sit down and enjoy their food. Learning from Ms. Rose. When the women leave, I turn to Ms. Rose. "That was amazing," I say. "You made it so easy for them." Ms. Rose laughs. "It's simple," she says. "When someone doesn't speak English well, you just use easy words and short sentences. The important thing is to make them feel comfortable. If they feel good here, they'll come back." I think about her words and realize she's right. It doesn't matter if someone's English is perfect or not. What matters is that they feel welcome. A busy weekend. The next weekend is even busier at the cafe. On Saturday morning, a group of tourists from Spain comes in. They are cheerful and friendly but speak very little English. This time, I remember Ms. Rose's advice. I use simple sentences and speak slowly. "Coffee? Tea? Cake?" I ask, showing them the menu. They point to what they want and smile, saying, "Thank you." I feel proud because I can help them without needing Ms. Rose's help. Later that day, a man with a strong American accent comes in. His words sound different from what I'm used to, but I concentrate and listen carefully. After a moment, I realize he is asking for a large latte and a chocolate muffin. I smile and serve him quickly. Practice makes perfect. Over the next few weeks, I keep practicing. I watch movies with different accents and listen to podcasts from different countries. At work, I try to listen carefully to every customer. Sometimes, I still have trouble, but I don't feel as embarrassed anymore. I know it's part of learning. One day, the same family from Ireland comes back to the cafe. This time, I understand them much better. "2 coffees and 1 juice?" I ask, and the man smiles. "Yes, that's right," he says. I feel proud of myself. I know I'm getting better every day. The lesson I learned. By the end of the month, I realize something important. Learning a new language isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. It's also about listening, understanding, and being patient. Every accent is like a new challenge, and with practice, I can overcome it. Now, when I meet someone with a new accent, I don't feel nervous. Instead, I feel excited to learn something new. And every time I help a customer, I feel proud of how far I've come. What about you? Have you ever had trouble understanding a new accent? How did you handle it?